Just before 10:15 this morning, Chandler officers were called to a report of a domestic dispute in the 900 block of East Laredo Street. The first officer on scene saw a man with a shotgun in the front yard of the reported address. He also saw a female sitting in a nearby vehicle. Multiple commands were given to drop the shotgun. This is when the officer involved shooting occurred. One officer fired multiple rounds, striking the suspect. When it was safe to do so, officers began life-saving measures until the Chandler Fire Department arrived. The Chandler Fire Department arrived on scene and pronounced the subject dead at the scene. Nobody else was injured, no officers or anybody else was injured. The Mesa will be investigating this incident as part of the EV CERT protocol.
You can say your whole name and spell it for us.
Marisol, Marsol, Green, Green.
Has this house been, has there been more domestic disputes at this location?
I don't have that information, but it's part of the investigation being conducted.
So what was the person doing when police arrived? What was the person doing when they arrived?
That's also part of the investigation. Officer, or the EV CERT is talking to officers, talking to any witnesses as to what happened.
So when the officer arrived, that person was already outside of their house with the shotgun?
When the officer arrived, he saw the male standing in the front yard of the reported address with a shotgun.
About what time? Do you have time as to when that first call came and then as when officers were able to
The call came into dispatch at, I believe, at 10:12. I don't have the exact times of when the officer arrived.
What's the protocol now, just for the officers who fired their weapons? What happens now for them?
So the Mesa EV CERT takes over the investigation. So they take over the investigation. All questions regarding the investigation could be directed to them.
Do those officers go on leave? Is that what's?
Oh, that part of it.
Yeah.
I'm not sure what's going to happen. That's somebody else makes those decisions. I don't know the exact process of what happens now with the officer.
With the initial call, was there someone in that vehicle that has holes throughout it? Was he beating on a windshield or something? What was going on?
That's part of the investigation as well. It's very early on in the investigation, so that's what they're looking at. That's what they're talking to the witnesses. They're talking to officers or to anybody who has any information. That's who they're talking to.
But was there somebody in the vehicle and he was outside of the vehicle?
When the first officer arrived, yes, he saw a female sitting inside the vehicle.
And the subject with the gun was outside of it?
Correct. The subject with the shotgun was standing in the front yard of the residence.
And then was the call, do you know if it was made from the person inside the vehicle?
I don't know that. I don't know. We received calls from the person involved, and we received calls from neighbors.
Were you able to tell us if the female that was involved in this domestic, she was not hurt?
Correct. I can tell you that there are no physical injuries to the officers or anybody else.
Was there, from the shots fired, was there any property damage to the local, any of the other homes?
I don't know that answer. I don't know if there was any property damage.
And did he ever fire his shotgun?
I don't know either. I don't have that information. That's part of the ongoing investigation.
But were there any shots fired before police arrived?
I don't have that information.
All right, we'll be sending out a media advisory here in the next hour or so. That's all the information.
I'm sorry, say that again?
I'm sorry, the Mesa Police Department will probably send out some type of
We'll be sending out a media advisory sometime today, and then the Mesa EV CERT takes over the investigation. Okay.
And then will all questions after that have to go through them?
Go through them, yes.